Director Ryan Coogler brings an epic horror tale to the big screen with Sinners. Now, I'm not going to tell you much about the plot of this film. I always say I'm not going to tell you the whole story. I'm not going to tell you as much of the story as the publicity machine has told you about this thing, because I think it would have a much, much larger impact if somehow you can go in to see this simply knowing that this is a horror film. This film stars Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan, which I didn't realize going in, as twins named Smoke and Stack. These twins have gone off. This is like Jim Crow era South, by the way. These twins have gone off away from the town they grew up in, where cotton is the main industry, and there is a very uneasy balance between the black and white sides of town, and they've gone off to Chicago. They've dabbled in gangsterism, and they've come back rich, and they want to open a juke joint in an old barn. They enlist their cousin Sammy, played by Miles Caton, who's the son of a preacher man. Somebody should write a song about that. He is a guitar-picking dynamo. They want him to be the music. They enlist Delroy Lindo, who is fabulous in this. I mean, okay, up front, this movie's really good. And up front, everybody in this is really good. And it was so nice to see Delroy Lindo again. I figured it was going to be a small part, and it's not. He's outstanding in this film. Everybody gets an arc. Everybody's got an interesting backstory. Delroy Lindo is a harmonica player that they bring in to be part of the Juke Joint band. Hailee Steinfeld plays a former flame of one, I was going to say of Michael B. Jordan, but you take your pick of the two guys. A former flame of one of the twins who is not happy that he ran off on her, and she's coming back into the mix to try to get some answers or try to rekindle something. And there's a lot going on. This is a really smart movie. This is a film that, yes, is reminiscent of other films, and I'm not going to say what film this is most reminiscent of, because it's going to kind of give away the film, presuming, again, that you watch this, as I suggest you do, with very little to no understanding what this film's going to be about. It's a horror movie. The first trailer did not indicate anything. The first trailer indicated it's this time and it's this place, it's these people, and something supernatural is going to go on. The second trailer basically went, here's what it's about, which really annoyed me, because it would have been nice to have that be a surprise, as it is in the film. So what this film does is it really digs into this nation's past. It really digs into the African-American experience in this time and place and beyond. It echoes a lot of things that are still going on today. It does some interesting things up front. It does something I don't like. It does about maybe two things I don't like in this film. Maybe three. Up front, it does the thing that I hate, which I refer to as a hack screenwriting technique, is where it shows you something very compelling up front, right at the beginning of the movie, and then it cuts to black and something comes up and says, 1 day earlier or 2 weeks earlier. In this case, it was 1 day earlier. And then you go back and then you really start the story, and it is allowed to take its time and unfold and get to that point that we came in at, where we already know. But see, to me, what that does is, if it's a film like this, where not everybody might make it to the end of the film, and you see a character at the beginning of the film and then it flashes back, you're like, well, that person's going to be fine. I just find it annoying, and a lot of movies do it, and I always kind of sigh. But this movie was so good it overcame that. It did that, and it did one other thing. There is something that is mentioned at the beginning of the film about the power of music, and through ancient cultures, it was said that people who were really good at music could sort of pierce the veil between our world and the world beyond, and the spirit world and the living world, and time and space and all that. And there are a couple musical numbers in this film that are very well done. There is a musical number where that plays out, and you see time and space kind of flex a little bit, and it yanked me right out of the movie, because I was so invested in the period of time this was set in, and it's so well made, from the music, the score, the music that's in the film that you see people playing, to the score, to the costumes, to the sets, to cinematography. Everything is so well done. And then it does this thing where suddenly you're looking at people from more modern times, and I'm just like, whoa, now I'm not thinking about this story. Anyway, that was the thing that bugged me. That little 1 day earlier always bugs me, no matter what the movie is. And then it did something else toward the end that I felt was a little bit silly, but ultimately it all made sense. So what you have here is a really well-made horror movie. What you have here is a really well-made drama, to the degree where I'm watching this film once they flash back, and it's just about these two guys trying to open a juke joint. They've got a past in town. They've got a reputation in town. They're dealing with racial issues in town. And I'm like all in on this guy's story. And I'm thinking to myself, if this never becomes a horror movie, I'm okay with that, because this is really interesting. Ultimately, it does become a horror movie, and it does some really interesting things, and it's not all lame jump scares, and it's not a lot of lame CGI where characters, scream and their mouth opens too wide and all that crap that just yanks me out of modern horror. It's really well done. It is derivative of other things, most notably one film that I'm not going to mention. But it didn't bother me because it was so well done. And Michael B. Jordan is so good. I'm going to start to go into a loop here saying how good everybody is in this and how you care about all the characters. And you get, even the characters that you only get a little piece of their history, it's enough to care about them and understand why they do what they do. It's very compelling. I know this was shot either entirely or mostly in IMAX or for IMAX. I did not see it in IMAX. I'm very curious how it would play in IMAX because IMAX is a squarish, let's say not a widescreen format. IMAX is a format that's tall. That's the thing about IMAX. And I saw it in a normal theater and it was like 235. It was very wide. So I'm very curious what that much more open frame, how that feels, because it's not like it was shot perfectly composed for IMAX and then they had to crop it and it looked really bad. Like, it doesn't. When you watch it in the widescreen, it looks very well composed for widescreen. So I'm really curious, is it more headroom and more pants that you're seeing in the IMAX version? If you've seen, let me know. I'm very curious. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to see this in IMAX before the next big tentpole film comes out that pushes it off screens. But very well made film. A lot to chew on in this film. Everybody in it is so good. The effects are so good. When it's shocking, it's shocking. It is legit creepy and disturbing at times. The main villain, at times I felt was a little cheesy, but ultimately it was really well done. And it's a film that I think will stand up over time. More so than, and Ryan Coogler, the director, most of you probably know him from the Creed films. He's done stuff other than the Creed films, but those are the ones that people tend to most closely associate with him. It was really good. So if you can see this in theaters, if there's a way for you to see this in a theater, if there's a way for you to see this not knowing what it's about other than Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan horror film, please do. Let those surprises be surprises. Sinners.